Locker room, what's up? A couple things, man, we need to chat about. First, let me drop this off my chest before I get into the basketball part of what's happening here. I want to know what the hell happened with the George Pickens stuff. Come on, my baby right here. See my baby right here? Come on up here, girl. That's my girl. See my baby? Y'all see my baby? My baby right. She always trying to get in the way. You want to see somebody, girl? Come on, bro. I should try to bite me, because I mean, it's my girl. She's so funny. Come on, baby. Look. See them? Look at them. Don't she look like Aurora? She's Aurora grandbaby. Grandbaby, right? She's just my baby, though. Come on, girl. Get on. Get it work. Okay? You come. All right. I'm just saying what the hell happened. Last week, we heard George Pickens sign. During the draft last Thursday, I heard George Pickens sign. And who was reporting this? None other than the greatest to ever do any reporting. It was Adam Sandler. I spoke on it on draft day, talked about it, how important it was. And then what happened? People started murmuring, uttering. And it turned into a little shouting that George Pickens did not sign the franchise tag. And they put salt in the game by saying George Pickens would not participate in anything with the Dallas Cowboys until he gets a long-term deal. This, after Stephen Jones and everybody had said that they were not going to give George Pickens a long-term deal. It looked like it was lining up for another Michael Parsons. And with the David Mulugeta. And I had heard that they had kind of met and maybe things were getting better, but then I don't know what's true anymore. What's live? What's Memorex? What's bull? What's not? Because AI, everybody's saying everything. AI can do so many things. I don't even know when I see somebody, is it really somebody? Or is it something somebody not did to make it look like somebody with this AI out here and everything? So now, I just don't know. But now I do. Now officially, George Pickens has signed the franchise tag. Now, I've been getting a lot of people, and you hear a lot of people, why would you do that? Why could you do that? You know, George knows, and the rest of the league probably knows. Because remember now, the only reason I can say this would happen this quickly is it had to be because George Pickens has the non-exclusive tag. I can't fathom another team, or there's no other team that really wants him. I could not fathom that with the kind of year he had last year. But so I rather place it on the positive instead of a negative that I can't see to be true. But I got to consider it to be true because he signed the franchise tag. Let me tell you what I mean. If George had 8 offers out here from 8 different teams because he has a non-exclusive franchise tag. That means he could talk to other people. They would have to give up something to get him. You know, and if you don't have 6, 7, 8 people, if you don't have 2, 3, 4 people that are making offers with your non-exclusive tag, then you start figuring, okay, what I think I'm worth or what I really want in the long-term numbers is not here right now. Obviously, other teams may have some reservations because he only had the 1 year, 90-some catches and 1,400 yards. You know, now George has to sit and say, all right, do I hold out to try to get that long-term deal? Or and you know, don't play this year, even though I got something great going in Dallas right now, And if I hold out as long as I could, then I come in 4 games late, 5 games late, or whatever, and I play half the season. Where am I next year? See, what George is doing is smart. George is saying, I don't want to go anywhere. And I'll work with you guys if you promise to work with me. Because the options are real. Probably limited options, more limited than I thought. And certainly right now, the best thing George can do with the Cowboys saying we're not going long term, and what I assess or have to say, no one out here is saying we will give you a long term. He comes back to Dallas and say, let's run it back. And I'm not missing any part of it, because after this year, my money, I want it all. I tried to tell people, it was all about perspective. And I appreciate that George sees this in the right perspective now. That he's not letting, and this tells me this too, he's not letting David Mulugeta, he's not letting anyone get to him, or maybe David Mulugeta is telling him this is the best course of action. However it's happening, and I'm telling you, I think it's the right way. Everybody always said, what if he gets hurt? What if he gets hurt? It's always a concern. It's always a concern. And I would much rather you have the long-term deal if you are a football player. But sitting out for something that's not going to come is not a great business deal either. And you already know somewhat of your value if you have a non-exclusive franchise tag on you and you have no offers to put in front of Jerry to say, at least, can you do something with this? That's how it really works. You go sign with, give me somebody, the Titans before they Cardinal Tate. You go sign with, you go and talk to the Titans. The Titans are willing to pay you $32 million a year for 4 years. You hear that offer. You creep back to the irrigated Jared and say, I got an offer, 32 a year, 4 years. 2 things here. You creep back and talk to Jerry and irrigate, which is probably legal, before you sign. Should I sign this? Because I can sign this and then you'll have to match. Now, Jerry can refuse to match and get the draft pick. Or George gets an offer, goes back to Jerry and says, this is what they got. What do you want to do with it? And if Jerry says, I don't want to do anything with it, then maybe if the Titans were ready to give him that money and give up a draft choice, you sign that ticket. But that's a big ready for the Titans when they can go and draft a Cardinal Tate and pay him fourth pick money instead of top of the line, being paid out top of the line wide receiver money right now. You see, so that's just giving you understanding of how that thing works. So without all those great offers out there, probably not being out there, George and his team said, let's go back to Dallas. Now, I commend them to say this. This is your year. One great year isn't going to get you what you want. But do it again. And then they got another thing coming. So I guarantee you, George has another kind of year like that. Like what he had last year. Yeah, he'll have teams making offers because then he will have proven that you are a true bona fide, big time baller in this league. A flash in the pan 1 year won't get it done. And I like what George Pickens has done. I just want to make sure it's done for real now. And I know it's done for real because the Cowboys announced it. Yeah. That played out great. Now, dog, all you have to do is pray for health. You don't have to pray for talent in no area. You don't have to pray for any more great skill. We just got to pray that they get a great collective will and go do what they can and should be able to do this season. I can't wait till the season come and I got to do that hype speech. I'm more hyped for the hype speech than they gonna ever be, because it's the first time in a long time that we've had this kind of team to put on a football field that we could try to say, Certainly since the last time I worked out at NFL Network, I've had Sundays off now. And ever since I left the network and I've had Sundays off to go to games, to have games at my restaurant and everything, we have been woof. Maybe I should get back on a show on Sunday. Maybe that's what it is. That might be what it is. Now that I think about it. I'm going to have to look into that. I got to look into that. Because, that's something interesting. But when I think through it, think about it. Because I haven't been able to, when I was working at the network every Sunday, it was harder for me to be at the games on Saturdays too. I enjoy going to games. I want to go to Cowboy games, just like I go to Miami games and just enjoy the game, and pump my boys up. But think about it. Ever since I left Sunday work and I've been able to go to games, we haven't been doing that good. This year, that will change. I'm happy about that. As I said to you, I believe Miami and Dallas will be in the Super Bowl and in the national championship game. Great year for me. Great year. You know what I mean? Great year.